So yesterday class, we are discussing about the different types of methods we use for the method overriding, how the final keyword will be used in order to avoid the inheritance, avoid the method overriding and all. And before I start today's session, there is small confusion yesterday which has happened. I just started with third module by mistake, fourth module by mistake without completing the third module. So I'll just show you the syllabus where the mistake has been happened. I'm so sorry for that. So let us first finish the third module, then we'll go for the fourth module. So let us see the syllabus. See, in the syllabus, after completing about the method overriding, we are supposed to start with the exception handling. So by mistake, I started with the package and interfaces. So which is the fourth module, right? Because IA is scheduled from 28th or 29th. So let us first finish. It will take another 2 classes to finish this exception handling. Then I'll continue with the packages and interfaces. Of course, this is one of the interesting topic. And today I'm supposed to show you how to write the custom package, customized Java package. So this I'll show you a couple of days later, maybe in our next class. So today let us talk much about the exception handling. I'm so sorry for that, because when preparing slides I just continually prepared all the things. So that's where some mistake is happened. So no problem. We just finished one topic, basic topic of the packages and interfaces. So let us finish according to our syllabus. Then we will go for the packages and interfaces. And one more thing I just want to convey is, see, for every module there will be a concept called COs. I think most of you know already, it is there in the syllabus also. See, these are all called as COs. CO is nothing but course outcomes. What is meant by course outcomes is, for every module what you are going to learn. Say for example, if you learn the first module, the student able to learn the fundamental features of object-oriented language and Java. If you complete second module, you could be able to set up Java JDK environment to create, debug and run Java programs. So like this, every module will have one CO. As now we are discussing the third module, the CO for third module is CO3. If I go for fourth module, the fourth module CO will be CO4. If I go for fifth module, the CO for fifth module will be CO5, right? So we have a clarity on this because there is a possibility that, so whenever we are going to discuss about the different topics, right? Say for example, module wise we will discuss. Sometimes we will discuss topic wise. See, some students are asking for some doubts. So when they are asking for the doubts, I'll be keep on moving here and there, right? So some students are asking doubts from the WhatsApp. Some students are asking by calling. So I'll be keep on moving from module to module. So don't get confused. So as we are in the third module, that is classes, inheritance and exception handling. So till we complete all these topics, it would be CO3. It would be CO3. So the moment we go to the fourth module, then it would be CO4 as usual, right? See, sometimes what happened, like before class, there is some doubt from the second module. So when I'm talking about the second module, it would be CO2, right? So like this, the COs has been classified. Now, so let us start with the next concept according to our syllabus as we are following further. So that is exception handling. So till yesterday class, we talked about the method overriding. So how to do the method overriding, how to avoid the inheritance, how to avoid the method overriding using final keyword, right? So today we are going to talk about the exception handling. So as I said, exception handling is one of the feature of object-oriented programming, especially Java. So Java built-in exception handling will allow us to handle the exceptions in advance, which can be predictable, So see, you may ask question here, sir, how we are going to predict the exceptions, right? So how we are going to predict the exceptions? See, the exceptions can be predictable. I'll show you a couple of examples in the next 5 or 10 minutes. So where we are going to talk about the different types of exceptions which we are going to see. And also in this particular topic, we are going to talk about what is meant by exception, what is meant by error, how to handle the exception, and what are the different ways or different methods or different keywords or different procedures we have to handle the exceptions in Java. Exceptions in Java. So one of the, I could say like one of the asset for Java is exception handling. And coming to, as I am telling from the first module or starting of this subject will be useful for both the ways. For your VTU exam, this is very important question, as well as for your interview, So in your interview, the interviewer will ask, what is meant by exception handling? What is meant by exception handling? And how exception handling will be implemented in Java. So these are the couple of questions we may expect in interview. And also those who are preparing for the higher studies, that is for your GATE examination and all. So there also there is a possibility that you will get couple of questions from exception handling, So before I start with this, can any one of you tell me, if you have an idea, what is meant by exception handling? What is meant by exception handling? Either you unmute and answer, or you can put in the chat box. What is meant by exception handling?
Sir, when there is an exception when a program code is running, so the way it handles is known as exception handling.
Okay, so you mean to say like how we are going to handle the exceptions in the program, if I am not wrong.
Yes, sir, in the mid of a code. Yes,
Okay, in the mid of the code. Good. And Ashish said, sir, for an predicted exception, we already find some alternative. Good, Ashish, but not the alternative exactly, but we are going to write some logic for that. Right? So we are going to write some logic for that. We are not going to find any alternative, but we are going to write some logic for that. See, again, I'm just repeating. I won't accept latecomers. This is the last warning. So don't come after 11:5, 11:6. It's almost 10 minutes. So I'm not going to accept anybody now on. Fine. So let us go and see few definitions and how we are going to do the exception handling in Java. See, today I am just taking a couple of examples, then we'll go and see the exception handling. Now, to see the technical definition of the exception handling. See, the exception is nothing but a problem which is going to arise during the execution of a program. See, if you want to technically define an exception is nothing but which is going to interrupt the normal flow of the program, That means the program will terminate abnormally. So that is what we call it as a exception. So that means the program cannot be executed according to the code which we have written. So the program is going to be terminated abnormally, and it is going to create some disturbance to the final output. So that is called exception. Right? So few of the exceptions, just for your reference. So user entered some invalid data, right? The file which we are supposed to be searched, it cannot be found in the particular location. Or when you are processing some data or some execution, you may run out of memory. But most of the times, the best example we will take for the exception handling is divided by zero error. So what is divided by zero error? Say for example, I'm taking a variable called C equals to A by B. So if I pass B value as 0, then it is called as divided by zero error. Why it is called divided by zero error? Because it leads to the infinite valued output. See, mathematically, whenever you are performing some activity, we will never take infinite value output as a value for the operations. So that's where we are going to take the divided by 0 as one of the exception which we are going to consider. Right. Now, before going to see what is divided by 0, what is exception, how to handle all those things, let us see first the difference between errors and exceptions. Let us see what is the difference between errors and exceptions, right? So as I said, exceptions are going to occur within the code. Exceptions are going to occur within the code, which a developer can handle very easily. We can take some corrective actions, we can take some precautions, or we can predict them, we can handle them very easily. But errors are going to be some abnormal conditions which we are going to face. Errors are nothing but the abnormal conditions which we are going to face. So the abnormal conditions, like for example, we may get memory error, we may get hardware error. I'll tell you one best example for this errors. See what happened in last class when we started with our MS Teams. So unfortunately, the MS Team got closed. Unexpected, or not unfortunately, unexpectedly MS Teams got closed. Again, I requested you just wait for 5 minutes. Again, I rejoined. See, that is the error which I never predicted because I'm using MS Teams for last 20-25 days or 30 days. Unexpectedly, it got closed. I don't know what happened. So that is called abnormal condition. In the same way, when you are developing a software, when you are doing the programming, so if we are getting some abnormal conditions, maybe memory errors, maybe system got struck, maybe some hardware failures. So those are all the abnormal errors which we cannot predict and which we cannot solve immediately. So those are all called as errors. Whereas exceptions are going to be occur within the program. Exceptions are going to occur within the program. So within the program, if you get some exception which can be handled by the programmer, See, this is the difference between exception and error. So exceptions can be easily handled by the programmers, whereas errors, we cannot handle them directly. So we require some kind of time, some kind of experience to handle them. So that is the difference between errors and exceptions. So is it clear to everyone what is error and what is exception? So if it is clear, you can raise your hands. If it is not clear, you can put in the chat box or unmute yourself and ask the question. Yes, Harshita. Any doubt, Harshita?
I'm not getting exact difference, sir. I'm confused.
Okay. So let me give one more simple example so that you can understand. See, okay, let me just go to this document only. See, these are the few exceptions. So what are the exceptions? Divided by 0. Say for example, as I said, I have three variables int a comma b comma c. Now I just pass some value to a equals to 40 and b equals to 0. Now I want to calculate the value of c. C equals to a by b. Now if I calculate the value of c equals to 40 by 0. So what is the output we are going to get, Harshita? What is the output we are going to get?
Infinity, sir.
Infinity we are going to get. So see, in any of the operations, you take some banking transactions, you take some any transaction for that sake, do you get any infinite operations we are going to consider? Can we have infinite balance in the account? Can we transfer infinite amount? No, right? So these kind of predictable errors, these kind of predictable things is called as exceptions, right? Or the exceptions, because the divided by 0 will never occur in the application or software. So that is the reason it is called as exception. How we can solve this? See, the moment if customer enters b equals to 0, we can say the customer, hey, you cannot enter b value as 0. You cannot enter b value as 0. Or let me put simple terms. See, all of us, we are using UPIs. All of us, we are using PhonePe, Google Pay, all those things, right? So why we use them? To transfer the money between the accounts or between the mobile numbers. So can you able to transfer zero amount between the accounts or between the numbers? Can
No,
we
sir.
transfer zero amount? Yes. So we cannot transfer zero amount. Can we transfer infinite amount?
No, sir.
No. So both the things are not possible, which we already know. That means we can predict them. So whenever customer enters the value money as zero and transfer to so and so account, we will indicate the customer that the minimum amount transferable should be minimum 1 rupee. Minimum 1 rupee. After that only you can transfer. So these are all called exceptions. These are all called exceptions, right? In our technical terminology, if you see divided by zero, it is an exception. Null pointer. So sometimes we'll get null pointers. So that is an exception. Arithmetic exceptions, right? We'll get arithmetic exception. What is arithmetic exceptions? See, sometimes what you are going to do, you are going to multiply the, see, for example, if I send 100 rupees to my account, already 500 balance is there. 100 plus 500, it should be 600. It should not be 500 multiplied by 100. So the balance will go up somewhere else, right? So that kind of arithmetic exceptions you may get. Sometimes array index out of bound. So array, there should be some index values, right? There will be like 10 elements, 20 elements. So you cannot give like infinite elements, right? So there will be some bounds we need to control. So those things are called as exceptions. Now what is error? Now what is error? See, all of us, we are using again take same example, payment gateways. When transferring money, there is a network issue. There is a network issue. Your account got debited with some amount, but it is not been transferred to the receiver. It's not been transferred to the receiver. Are we going to leave just like that, saying that, okay, let my amount go off, no problem. So it will reach customer receiver after some time. No, right? So due to network failure, something has happened. So we are going to communicate same to the customer care. So that means the network errors, memory errors, hardware failures, these are all the abnormal errors which you cannot predict. That is the reason either Google Pay or Phone Pay never said if network error comes, we are not going to return back your amount. So if something goes wrong really due to some error, they'll return back the amount. So these things are possible, but these are unexpected problems which we are going to face. So the unexpected problems which are faced by the either developers or customers using software or application, they are called errors. The problems which can be predictable, which can be rectifiable by the programmer within the program are called as exceptions. Now is it clear?
Oh, yes, sir.
Sorry?
Clear.
So still any confusion? Don't worry. The moment we'll start executing for a couple of programs, you can understand what is this error, what is this exception. Now, so let me just go to one of the example we will take. Let us take one example for this exception handling. How we are going to do the exception handling, right? So yes, so let us take this example. What I'll do is I'll just copy this. Let me show you how it is going to work and how the exceptions will be handled in Java. Okay, before going to see this, so how we are going to handle the exception is in Java. So you can see here. See, I'm just using Word document today because there are some big diagrams which I cannot put directly in the PPT and show you. It will become very small. Here itself, it became very small. See, we'll be having some object that is your program. So which we can do throwable activity. What is this throwable activity? We are going to see end of this concept, exception handling. So basically in your program, there will be exceptions as well as errors. Exceptions as well as errors. See, the moment you start execution of your program, so that a thread will be created. Thread is nothing but sequence of operations. So there is a possibility that you may get exceptions, you may get errors. See, if you get the error, the thread will go to the dead states. Why it will go to the dead states? Because you cannot rectify the error immediately. Say for example, I'm using my laptop. I forgot to put the charging, power gone. So it will immediately restart. That means the thread will go to the dead state. So I cannot do anything immediately. Whereas for exception, we can predict few exceptions like this, which you can see here, class not found exception, interrupted exception, illegal access exception, runtime exceptions, illegal argument, null pointer, out of bound, so many exceptions, and we can try to rectify those exceptions within the program. We are going to try to rectify those things within the program. That means exceptions can be handled by the programmers very easily compared to the errors. Exceptions can be handled by the programmers very easily than the errors. For handling the errors, you require time and efficient knowledge. Whereas programmers can easily handle the exceptions. Now, let us go how we are going to handle the exceptions in Java. See, these are the 5 things you should remember with respect to exception handling in Java. These are the 5 things you should remember with respect to exception handling in Java. One is called try block, catch block, finally block, throw, and throws. Try, catch, finally, throw, throws. So this is the third question with respect to exception handling in your interview. What are the different keywords which we are going to use for exception handling in Java? So the 5 major keywords which we are going to use is try, catch, finally, throw, throws. Try, catch, finally, throw, throws. Now we are going to see one by one how they are going to work. Now we are going to see how we are going to work with all these keywords, right? So let us start first with our try and catch. So let me just copy this. I'll execute, then I'll explain you how it is going to work. So let us go to our Pisa. So this is our Pisa. So let me just remove this. I'm just going to place that. Yes. So now what is going to happen here, we will see now. Right. So let me explain step by step. Please listen very carefully. Any doubt is there, stop there itself. I'll explain once again. See, now what I'm doing here is I'm defining 2 variables. One is called D, another one is called A. One is called D, another one is called A. Now I'm going to write the try and catch block for divided by 0 exception. I'm going to write try and catch block for divided by 0 exception. So when we need to write try block is, if, see, very practically I'll tell you, very practical terms, when you think that there is a possibility that I'll get error here, there is a possibility that I will get error here, then that particular portion of code you put in the try block. Again, I'm repeating, if you think there is a possibility that I will get some exception in this portion of code, then you put it in the try block. Again, I'm repeating, go here, see here, what is the exception we may get? If D value becomes 0, then there is a possibility that you will get divided by 0 error. So that's why I'm putting this particular code in the try block. Is it clear? To everyone? When we need to write try block, there is a possibility that you may get divided by 0. Sorry, you may get some exception in this block of code. In the particular block of code, there is a possibility that you will get the exception. Put that one in the try block. Right? Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm writing try and opening the parenthesis flower braces. So I'm assigning D value as 0. A equals to 42 by D. Obviously, D value is 0, as someone said. So we are going to get infinite output. So there is a possibility that I'll get exception here. So that's why I'm putting this code in the try block. What is the error we are going to get? We know already. So that's why we are writing one catch for that. We are writing one catch block for that. Catch, arithmetic exception. What kind of exception it is? Arithmetic exception, and catch the exception as variable E. You can write any variable, catch the exception as E, and inform the user what type of error you are going to get with this. So I'm just informing the user it is going to be a division by 0 error. It will be a division by 0 error. It will be a division by 0 error. So that means I'm predicting in the code there is a possibility that I will get exception here. So I'm putting that particular code in the try block. I'm putting that particular code in the try block, and I'm writing one catch for that. I'm writing one catch for that, saying that there is a possibility that you will get division by 0 error. Now let me execute and see what is going to happen, whether I'll get some output for this. Now you can see here. What is the output I got? So the moment it read 0, a equals to infinite. So it is not executed this part. It is not executed this part. What it did? Because exception has caught, it will go to the catch and it will execute this particular statement. Then remaining statement will be executed. Then remaining statement will be executed, right? So like this, the try and catch block will be used in exception handling. So try block is to identify in which portion there is a possibility that you will get the error. Catch block is to catch the error and display what is going to happen to the user. Display what is going to happen to the user. So that is the purpose of try and catch block. That is the purpose of try and catch block. Now let us first understand theoretically, then we'll come back to this. Right. So I said what is exception. So what is meant by exception, and also I said what is meant by error. So what is the difference between exception and error? And this is not really required for us runtime stack mechanism. Okay. So these are the 4 or 5 keywords which we use in order to handle the exceptions. So the try block maximum we use for the where there is a portion of program exceptions may occur, that will be in the try block. So that errors will be catched by the catch block. That errors will be catched by the catch block. And throw keyword is basically used to throw the errors to the compiler or JRE system, Java runtime environment. We are going to see one by one. And finally block we used if you want to execute particular code after the exceptions. After the exception, still if you want to execute particular code, you can use finally block. We are going to see all these things one by one. Now, so this is the general form of try and catch, how it is going to be. See, try, where we are going to write block of code, there is a possibility of errors. Catch is going to catch this error and display what is supposed to be displayed to the user. What is supposed to be displayed to the user. So you can have multiple catches, and finally is the place where we are going to get a block of code which needs to be executed after this try catch. So that means if exception is there, still if I want to execute particular block of code, then I'll go for finally. Now, for example, suppose if I have not written the exception handling, if I have not written the exception handling, then what is going to happen? If I have not written the exception handling, then what is going to happen? So that is what we are going to see here. If we don't write the exception handling, take the same example. I have created d equals to 0, a equals to 42 by d. So that means we are going to get divided by 0 exception. Divided by 0 exception. So if you are not defining the exception handling, it will be handled by a default handler. It will be handled by a default handler. So let me go here. So let me just remove this. Let me just remove this. I am not writing the try and catch block. So just let me remove all the try and catch block. Now let me just execute this. Right. Now you can see if I am not writing the exception handling, it will be handled by the default handler which is already there in Java. Which is already there in Java, and it will execute and it will show me the error. It will show me the error. But why we required exception handling? Because the default handler cannot handle all the exceptions. Default handler cannot handle all the exceptions. At the same time, default handler cannot handle the custom exceptions. What is meant by custom exceptions? See, when you are creating some accounts, there will be one exception. What is exception? The password should be minimum 8 characters. It should include one small letter, one uppercase letter, one number, one symbol. So this is also one exception, right? If someone not follows this order, we need to post them a message saying that you are not following the order. So those kind of exceptions cannot be handled by the default exception handlers. Default exception handlers. So in order to get those kind of exceptions, we are going for the exception handlers. If there are the if they are default exceptions like divided by 0, array out of bound exception, right? Data not found. So these kind of default exceptions can be handled by the default exception handler. But why we need to write exception handling? When you want to go and work on the customized exceptions, then we'll go for the exception handling. Then we'll go for the exception handling. So using try and catch block, when you write the exception handling in Java, the main advantage is you can fix the errors. You can fix the errors. Errors are nothing but exceptions. Program exceptions we can fix. So we can automatically stop the termination of program. Automatically stop the termination of program. So it will execute according to the requirement, right? So within the try block, as I shown here, we are going to write the code where there is a possibility that we may get error, where there is a possibility that we may get error. So that code will be written in the try block. It will be catched by the catch block and it will print what it is supposed to print to the user. So that will be done with the try and catch block. So this is how first level we are going to handle the exceptions in Java using try and catch block. So any doubt in this, any question in this, you can ask. Sorry. Sir, we can do some same in C by using if statement. So how is it different? Okay. See, in C and C++, we cannot handle the errors. I'll tell you why. See, in C program, you can write the condition. If something goes wrong like this, you do this. But how you are going to show it to the customer? How you are going to show that one to the customer? Right? See, the exception handling which I am talking here is at the program level, but the output will be seen by the people who are going to use your software. People who are going to use your software. So I am not going to show this one only for the programmers. But C programming, it is not possible. You can write the condition, you will get the output, but cannot be implemented in the real time. Hope I answered your question, Ashish. If condition, all those things just for our practice. We cannot show it in the real time. So any other doubts, any other questions with respect to this? Right? So it's very simple. Initially, it will be confusing. What is try? What is catch? Don't get confused. When you read it, you can understand much more better. See, try is the place where I'm going to write the code which I predict that there is a possibility that we will get the error. There is a possibility that we will get the error. Catch is the place where we are going to catch the exception. So let me just show you one example how exactly it will work. So let me just open any of the website, Celonis, or let me open any website, no problem. Celonis.com, no problem. Yeah. Say for example, I want to create a free account. I want to create a free account. This is one portal. I'll tell you what is this, all those things later. Say now what I'm going to do is, Ashish, for your question also, this is the answer. If it is C programming, we cannot do this. What I will do is, I'll just write Satya @ See, immediately it showed me email is invalid. This is called exception handling. So already we have done in try block. The email structure should be something like something @ something.com or .in or .org or .eu or .u. So many formats, whatever formats are there, we mentioned that. Apart from that, anything comes, it is an exception. Apart from that, anything comes an exception. See, if I leave empty also, it is telling please insert your work email to get started. So this is also an exception. Now what I will do is I'll just put satya@svce. Now I come out. Again, email ID is invalid. Now what I will do is satya@svce.com. Now you can see I just came out, no error. Still this email is not valid, but still how we have written exception, there should be something@something.com. So it is following the structure. Then it is a correct. Then it is correct. Now what I will do is CO. Let me just come out. Still it is accepting because CO extension also there. I'll just say in. Still it is accepting, in extension also there. I will say, for example, XYZ. So XYZ extension is also there because you know already there are different extensions which you can use. Now I will say ZWER. So ZWER also it is accepting. So that means there is some structure we followed in the try block, something@something.something. If it comes in this structure, so it is not an exception. You can allow the user. If something coming beyond this, we cannot allow the user. So this is how try and catch block is going to work. Is it clear now, everyone? If it is clear, raise your hands. Still any doubts, you can ask me. So now what is try in this? Try is the structure which we have written. Catch is the moment I do the error, I'm displaying with something. So that is the catch block. Good. Still any doubt, please ask me. This is one of the important question for your IA, for your main exam, for your interview. Great. So this is how try and catch block will be implemented in Java. So this is how I have shown this example, right? So same thing we have done. No need that much explanation. So you can write try and catch block for any kind of exception. Any kind of exceptions you can use. This is another example. These are all like very simple things. Okay, multiple catch class. See, in a single program, you can have multiple catches. You can see here I have done 2 catches. One is array divided by 0 exception, array index out of range. Right? So you can have multiple catch exceptions or multiple catches in a single block. You can have multiple catches. That means one try may throw any number of errors. One try block may throw any number of errors. This is a best example. See, when I put up to this, I'm getting invalid email ID. If I put up to this, still I'm getting error. So there are different possibilities we may get error or exception. For that, we are going to write multiple catch blocks. Say, for example, it is asking for official mail ID. Now I'll put gmail.com and I'll come out. Right? So still it will accept. The moment I put sign up. Now you can see we sent an email to satya@gmail.com. Follow the link to complete your registration. See, this is one activity. When the email is correct, it is sending the mail. When email is wrong, it is following different steps. So based on that, it is displaying the catch block. So that means we can have multiple catch blocks for a try block. We will see practical how it is going to work also. And before going to see this, I'll just show you one more. You can have multiple try blocks. See here, you can have multiple try blocks. We can have multiple catch blocks. We can have multiple try blocks. See, actually try catch is one architecture, one structure. You can have multiple try blocks. You can have multiple catch blocks in a exception handling. So I don't want to get confused today itself. Hope today class we understood what is meant by exception, what is meant by error, what are the different keywords we'll use for exception handling in Java, how to write the try and catch block. So tomorrow class, we are going to see multiple try blocks, multiple catch blocks, what is meant by finally, throw and throws, right? So I'm just